Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks again for joining me. In our conversation today, I'd like to cover a most important topic that really goes hand in glove with enlightenment, accessing universal intelligence, in hand in glove in you becoming everything that you're capable of being. And that topic is that of beliefs and belief systems, and the power of belief to create the reality that we experience. So let's begin with, why is this topic so important? And to fully understand that, we need to go back to, the genesis of our universe. Now, we've kind of become conditioned to see our universe as this almost kind of static, very physically dense reality. But in truth, it didn't begin that way. In fact, there is so much more than just a physical aspect that we see. And when we peel the layers behind this and the origins of our universe, what we get to see is a thinking mind. Not too dissimilar from your own. A mind that has an idea, a thought, an inspiration or aspiration to create something that's never been seen before or never been experienced before. To create for the betterment of all involved, for the whole universe. Now this thinking mind, which began eons ago from certain perspectives, had an inspiration to create itself over and over again, so that the creations themselves became creators themselves. And this is the self-perpetuating universe. And as I'm being shown this, what comes to mind, a very clear visual, is that of a dandelion. And dandelions created in the very essence of our universe, so that the seeds, creates the structure is seeds themselves that go on to create more and more dandelions themselves that go on to create more and more. This self-perpetuating ecosystem. So this universe, this mind that was powering the creation, the creative forces, had really one idea in mind, and that was to expand one's idea of themselves. And to do that, you need to be filled with the same creative prowess, the same creative juices, as that originating mind itself. And so this mind, in order to create, would power out these immense ideas with such strength and volition and conviction that these ideas themselves would actually take the form of whatever it was that was wanting to be created, and bring in all the elements that it needs to create a physical form or a non-physical form, whatever was being created. So as this evolved, more things became possible. Color became possible, density became possible, a universe became possible. Planets, stars, everything became a viable reality. But underneath all of that was two key ingredients, and that was the intention. What should something look like, behave like, act like? What was the inherent design energy behind it? And the second was full-hearted, wholehearted belief in that creation. There was nothing that was created from a space of doubt or skepticism or disbelief. And that's what makes the universe what it is today, is that it has those two underpinning elements, an intention and the belief. Now there's been a lot of talk on recent years about manifesting and creating our own reality. And there's been a huge emphasis on intention. And a lot of people have really taken that and ran with it, which has been great. But there's the other side to that coin. Without belief, you won't create exactly what you want in the time that you want to create it. In truth, you're more likely to create that which you believe in most rather than what you're intending to create. So I might intend financial success for myself, but if I believe wholeheartedly that I'm a failure when it comes to money, well, guess which one I'm going to create? Because the universe is an expression of both, of intention and belief. And we're constantly being shown what we believe in most. Now we can look at that on a global scale, and we can see that as a planet, what we believe in most is that money is more important than love. Money is more important than the trees and the animal kingdom. We can see that. That's the reality in which we're experiencing Earth, the violence and the destruction, is mirroring that we are holding survival as a lesser priority in our belief system than the accumulation of wealth and power. Now, not to make that wrong, it's just simply the universe showing that up to us as a mirror. Likewise, in our own personal day-to-day life, we are being shown up for what we believe as the greatest priority. Now, it's not what we necessarily think we believe is the greatest priority, because in truth, these beliefs are subconscious to our awareness, and many of which are actually at the DNA level. But we're acting from these beliefs, we're making decisions from these beliefs, so we're creating a reality driven from an unconscious belief system. Now, the problem inherent with that is that there's what you want to create, what you really want to hold, what you hold dear on a conscious level, and then there's what is being created from what's already in here, what's already within that belief system. So the subconscious mind is playing a more active role in creating our outer experience of our reality. Now that shows up in a multitude of levels. One of the very first levels that it shows up in is our ability to think of new ideas, be innovative, and our ability to connect to our truth. That's one of the first areas our belief system shows up. So if we have beliefs that connecting to UI or enlightenment is difficult and doesn't work for me and I'll never be able to do it, well, that will be mirrored in the experience of connection. And we've had hundreds of people that turn up to our workshops with a whole range of these kinds of beliefs, and then they are met with that very experience. We had one lady, I remember, that came into the space with the belief that she never finishes anything, never finishes a project, never gets anything completed. And she kept being stopped halfway through one of the processes that we do to clear limiting beliefs. And it was quite funny because the limiting belief, I never complete anything, was actually preventing her from clearing a limiting belief. And whilst it's a very short process, it's just a couple of steps, because the belief was so real to her, that created her reality. So beliefs will be mirrored in our mental state, our ability to connect and think, and then the next layer that our beliefs show up is in our physical self. And we've touched on this a lot, so I won't spend too much time on it, but in terms of how we're feeling physically. Are we feeling well? Are we manifesting an illness? Because the illnesses that we're experiencing, whether it's a migraine or deteriorating eyesight or even impotency, whatever it is, these physical symptoms are beliefs. They are beliefs that are being mirrored in the physical body. So, as I've mentioned many times, to heal, the physical body, we have to heal the mind. So beliefs are showing up in multiple levels. The next level it shows up is in our relationships with people, who we're bringing in, who we're pushing out. Now, I know for a large part of my life, when I had a belief that women couldn't be trusted, I would be pushing out those who could be trusted and only letting in those who couldn't be trusted. I had learnt that as a young child. At least that was my interpretation of reality, or at least that's what I inherited from somebody else's interpretation of reality. So we're constantly being shown or having our beliefs mirrored up to us. So if you're wondering where you're holding a belief that is no longer serving you, just look at where there is struggle in your life, where there is hardship, where there is failure, where there is frustration, where there is a disconnect. Because wherever there is some form of stagnation, there is a limiting belief creating that reality. So, to recap, our beliefs are being mirrored in the relationships. Are we allowing in opportunities? Are we pushing opportunities away? How big are the opportunities that we're allowing in? And which ones are we, and how big are the ones that we're pushing away? So our belief system is actually playing a very vital role in the quality and quantity of relationships that are coming in. So if you're wondering why that soulmate hasn't shown up, check the belief. And it reminds me of a conversation I had recently where one of the ladies at the workshop was has been waiting years for this so-called soulmate to turn up. And when we dug a little bit deeper, we got to see that there was the fundamental belief is, I destroy anything good in my life. And how many times did mum and dad say that to us when we broke a new toy, or we stained a dress, or spilt food on something? You look at you can't be trusted, you can't have anything nice in your life. It's such a simple throwaway comment that actually ends up scarring us until we're able to clear it. It actually creates a reality. So she was like, I don't want to destroy this person, so I'm going to push them away. So the belief becomes the cookie cutter, if you like, for what reality you're able to let in. So these beliefs can sometimes serve us and end up having an expiry date on them and ultimately no longer serve us at all. So don't feel too bad. There are plenty of beliefs that you're carrying at the moment that are getting you to where you are now, to having this conversation with me. And, some of these beliefs will keep serving you for the time being. But we need to be sensitive, hold an awareness to what beliefs are actually no longer working for us. And I'm reminded of this experience where years ago we'd constantly encounter people paying us at the very last minute, at the 11th hour we would call it, after bills were due and after we needed money to do what we wanted to do, and money would finally turn up. And so we realized that, we're creating this reality, let's get to the root of the problem. And when we delved in, we were shown that we were both carrying a belief that everything works out in the end. Now, that seems like a reasonable belief that you might teach your children or share with a loved one, or even hold on to for yourself. But like I said, all beliefs ultimately have an expiry date, a use-by date. So at that point in time, we wanted things to work out in the beginning, not in the end. So we needed to go in and shift that belief, allow in the deeper truth that things can work out right in the beginning. And once we're able to embrace that and integrate that, we no longer experience that anymore. And our reality shifted within a week. And this is the beauty of it, is when we can shift the belief in allowing truth, I'm going to share more about that in a second, the outer reality, whether it's the body, the mind, relationships, or our physical reality, that shifts in direct proportion to how much of that belief has been shifted. So our power to recreate our reality is infinite. And as long as we just shed these belief systems, we're able to create very rapid change, much faster than any other modality or any other means that we've been accustomed to over the last 30, 40 years of personal development. Because when we keep trying to change everything out there in the world, there's still the reality generator within. That is actually, even though we might make some changes in relationships here and make some changes in our diet there is still the source of the reality in here, which is going, women can't be trusted. Everything works out in the end. I'm destined for failure. So ultimately, can we really, you can run but you can't hide is the ultimate there. So as we move into a deeper level of awareness, we start seeing, well, hey, that's not working. There must be a limiting belief behind that. Or that's not working. I'm pushing away opportunities. There must be a limiting belief. So just heightening that acuity, if you like, to what's happening in the life. Instead of dismissing everything, just being aware and not judging it, going, I'm screwing things up again, or this is bad. It's going, there must be one of those limiting beliefs behind that failure or that frustration. So we get to see the belief showing up, as I said, in the relationships and in the physical world around us. So our financial situation, various opportunities that are coming in, our immediate environment, our household, and of course, as we start looking at a family, what's the family bringing in as a nation? What's the nation bringing in as a planet? What are we bringing in there? So we're getting to see that our belief systems are creating a reality at every level, on an individual level, on a household level, on a national level, and on a planetary level. So we are creating our reality. So there are all these intersecting realities based on who or what is holding those belief systems. And this is where things get to be very interesting. So if we go back to the genesis of the universe, the founders, if you like, or the founding mind of the universe, or minds that got created and all these self-perpetuating minds, had some very deliberate intentions and held some very strong beliefs. And when we have these limiting beliefs that are non-truth, they can kind of bump into those original belief systems. I.e., let's pollute the environment, and we're bumping into the belief systems and the intentions behind our ecosystems. They are founded on truthful belief systems and intentions. So we're going to keep bumping up against those original perfect and sublime beliefs when our belief systems are out of alignment with our own truth. Because our own truth is the universal truth, and that's what brings ecosystems into alignment. So it's very important that we are going through a cleansing of seeing a greater and deeper truth, a greater and more meaningful truth about who we really are. Because it really comes back to, if we continue to despise ourselves as a race, as a species, and whether we like to acknowledge that or not, we are going to keep creating that as our reality. And it always reminds me of when you have your first car. And for those of us who didn't start off with the Mercedes or the BMWs as our first car, they're kind of, call them a bomb or whatever it is, that you started to, as you kind of started to dislike your car, you started to treat it in that corresponding way. So you leave rubbish, you may have thought, oh no, I'm never going to eat in my car. Then all of a sudden you're eating in your car and getting mud and doing all these things and not washing it as often. So the way we were treating the car was exactly how we viewed the car. And the way we treat ourselves is how we view ourselves, and the way we're treating the planet is also how we view ourselves and the planet. So UI is really coming in and saying, you're off kilter. You've got this whole set of concepts, beliefs about what's important in life, what your reality consists of, what physics consists of, what science consists of, what medicine consists of. You've got these encyclopedias of what you think is true. In fact, 99% of them are actually off kilter. They were all you could see in that moment, and many of them have reached their use by, and it's time to move on. They served you at a certain point. Now it's time to evolve and grow and see a bigger picture. And it comes back to that metaphor of the more we ascend up the mountain, or the more we rise like a hot air balloon, as we drop the baggage, as we drop the beliefs of the past and experiences of the past, as we start elevating, our awareness becomes greater, more expansive, just exactly as if we were to climb up a mountain. We get to see more and more the higher and higher we go. And it's the same with the physics and the sciences and the medicine and relationships and financial markets and all these things. The more we expand our awareness, the more we get to see what that reality actually consists of, as opposed to what we've all held as a society as our definitive reality. So the enlightenment journey is a series of unraveling the non-truths to allow in, to be present to the ultimate truth in whatever area of life that might be. So belief is the other side of the coin in accessing UI. The more limiting beliefs we shift, the more we get to create a purposeful reality, a deliberate reality where we're actually creating what we desire rather than what those subconscious beliefs have always been creating. So we're getting to be in that deliberate creation. And as we're doing that, we're also allowing in more insight, more knowledge and wisdom from UI. As I said, the more we clear that clutter of the mind, the more space we have to allow in truth. And it's quite profound because we start allowing in a whole new level of ideas, a whole new quality of thought, virgin thoughts, thoughts that haven't even hit humanity at this point in time. So it's all our jobs to release the past, shift the non-truth that we've inherited coming into our families and into this time of life, and to elevate, stand high up on that mountain and start going, well, now we know that the earth isn't flat anymore and all these crazy beliefs that we've held over history. Well, what is the truth? And this is just how the All-Knowing Diary was written and how we're able to teach what we do in such a short amount of time, and is because we're always asking, well, what's the truth? I know that's what a doctor says, but what's the truth? I know that's what Professor Hawking says, but what's the truth? Let's not assume that anything anyone is saying is the ultimate truth. So our role is to go, well, yeah, but what's my truth? That's what he's saying, that's what they're saying. Even no matter who it is, it's now time that we all ask, what's our truth? And we found in our workshops that those who had studied the most and those who were most invested in their academic qualification struggled the most, because they were so attached that, no, that's what there is to know. That's all there is to know. Don't challenge that. And UI is coming in and going, you have to be joking. That is like a minuscule percentage of what there is to know, and you're holding on to it as if it's 100%. Release the grip of the attachment, because it's in the attachment that blocks a flow of abundance, abundant knowledge, abundant growth. So those who can be the most humble in, it's okay to still be learning, actually receive so much more. And the great irony, of course, in this is, because our reality is being driven by beliefs, the less we believe in, the less we receive, and the less we can conceive. So those of you who pride yourselves on being a skeptic, being a non-believer, being in closed mind, well, the joke's on you. Because the more closed your mind is, the more you get to be right that nothing else does exist in your reality. You're creating a fixed, finite reality where the most extraordinary things aren't possible. They're possible in my reality, in other people's reality, but in the mind that is non-believing, well, very few things become possible. So those who are open to truth and expansive universes get to experience an expansive reality where money, large sums of money is possible, abundance of love and connectedness is possible. Where those who have that finite, cynical mind have a very tiny reality. So they're ultimately creating what they're pushing out to the world, and they're shooting themselves in the foot at the same time. But they're getting to be right, and that gets to be their experience. So it's a reminder for us all to realize that throughout all of history, there has been countless beliefs, like the earth is flat, like the earth is, our sun is the center of the universe, like there is no intelligent life in the universe. There's been countless beliefs that we've held as truth. And you want to reflect on that and start asking, well, what belief am I really digging my heels in at the moment that I'm so sure is the truth, is actually preventing me from getting exactly what I want? Now, how do you know? Again, where is there stagnation? Where is there defeat and failure and frustration? But also, where is there reactions? So if things that I'm saying are causing a reaction, that's where the limiting belief is. If things that other people are saying, oh, you need to spend more time in nature, or you need to take more time off work, or you need to spend more time with your children, or you need to meditate more and stop concentrating on business, or you need to stop your chemotherapy because it's killing you. If any of these things that people are saying out there in the world to you are causing reactions in your body, maybe have a think about that, because they're causing reactions because it's where you're attached to a belief, a reality. And this happens continuously to all of us in the experience of life. Being married, having kids, everyone's always showing things up and pushing buttons and causing reactions. And that's how we get to see what realities we're actually attached to. So I'd just like to take a minute and just look at what are some of the beliefs that are operating with some of the people on this call at the moment. And let's just share a little bit about what they're creating. So just bear with me as we get nice and connected into the group. Now, with UI, or with a heightened awareness, we can go into our own subconscious mind. It's a very easy thing to do. We teach that in our inner reality module, UI module, teach you how to heighten the awareness and go in and look at what are the limiting beliefs. It's a very straightforward exercise. It's one of the very first skills that we started teaching. But as a mentor, as you start doing the UI mentor training, you're able to go into other people's subconscious reality. It's just a field of thoughts, and then we can even go deeper than that into group subconscious realities as well, to see what's actually behind certain realities on Earth and throughout the universe. But if we go into this, we look at the group subconscious mind and we have a look at what are some of the biggest limiting beliefs in here, is that one of the ones that came up, just comes up immediately, is success is exhausting. See if you have that. If that kind of created a trigger, you might have that going on. And what UI wants to share on that is failure is exhausting. Continually pushing up against things that are not your truth is exhausting. Because when we're acting from a space of truth, although you might not reach your ultimate outcome first up, there's still success, there's still reward. So there's never failure when acting from a space of truth. So again, connecting through UI in our a knowing module online and being able to connect to that gives you the ability to go, well, what is my truth? Or of course, getting help from one of the UI mentors, writing in to UI and asking, what is my truth? Where is this path that I'm persisting up against worth persisting through? Or am I persisting off track? It's very helpful to know that. And we've gone through that experience a lot ourselves. So that's the first limiting belief that comes up. Now I'm prompted to mention that the way we dissolve limiting beliefs, and there are many ways to do it, but one of the most powerful ways to do it is to actually see the truth. And the truth comes from UI, from within. It's not something we affirm. It's not an affirmation. It's not where we put an opposite positive spin on something. There's an actual truth. And you can feel that and you can hear that. So as we go through that in the training, you get to really feel and see it for yourself. And you can feel that as you let in the truth, we feel that shift within. You feel that has integrated within all aspects of yourself. So that was the first one. So let's bring in the next one of this group and let's have a look at what is one of the next limiting beliefs around. Okay, and this has come up before. I have no time for my spiritual growth. That's one that's coming up. So that's the belief. That is not based in truth. Beliefs are not based in truth. They've just come from misinterpretations of an experience when we were young or even a little bit older. We concluded something that was in error, and we've been basing our life decisions and on error ever since, and creating more and more errors, if you like. So I have no time. So we bring in the truth from UI, and UI says, the very first thing, it says, there is no time. But you create time in non-truth. By not taking the time to be on purpose, you create aging, you create disease, you create stagnation and floundering. And that is a real serious measure of time. Because when you're in truth and you're enjoying it, you do not perceive time in the same way. Or you do not perceive time in a linear way either. So, let's see, does UI want to share anything else about that? No, moving on. All good. So, if we just integrate that as I've been sharing that, and we'll look at another limiting belief of the callers on the line, and we'll just have a look at what's there. Okay, success must be done in incremental steps. All right, again, it's a belief. Now, the common characteristic amongst beliefs is they're not the truth. All right, there's belief and there's truth. So, that's the limiting belief. Now, let's have a look. So what does that create? If we have a belief, success must take incremental steps. Well, logically, you can see where that's going. And what UI has to say about that is, instead of having success take 1 year, you're going to make it take 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. So whenever we act from a non-truth, we make everything take 10 times as long or not at all. So we'll go into the truth. UI wants to say about success must be done in incremental steps. Okay, so UI wants to share about that. Is it says that's for the mental, that mental mind, that old kind of human paradigm of you have to tread carefully because you don't actually know what you're doing. And UI is like, well, I'm all knowing, I know what I'm doing, I'm purposeful. Why would you have to act from this redundant paradigm of let's tread cautiously when you're now dealing with an all-knowing intelligence that is actually putting success together? All you're doing is holding up the universe from growing and evolving. So it would definitely appreciate that you put the same trust in the process as you are in the destination. And that is what's going to make it come to fruition. So the truth there in that it has to take incremental steps. It's like, no, it shouldn't take more than 3 steps or 2 steps. It can actually be very quick. And when you're working at all levels, if you're working on the mental level, you're clearing the inner reality. So you're opening, creating space for everything to come to fruition. And you're working on a physical level, doing the work or the conversations or whatever it is that you need to bring this. And you're working on a universal level in allowing the universe to do what it needs to do and getting insight and information each step of the way. Well, why should things take 10 times as long? And we've seen it countlessly in our own lives, how fast we're able to create something that once upon a time seemed impossible, like never going to happen. Likewise, we've seen plenty of people that allow their egos, that belief system, that negative consciousness to take them off that path of success as well. And that's again the belief of I'm not going to be successful, or I can't trust in the universe, or I'm destined for failure. So again, it comes back to every belief can cause havoc in some way. And if we have the awareness and we're in connection with our subconscious and deeper levels of our awareness, we can root out, pull out all these obstructing belief systems. So let's just say we'll do one more belief for the whole group that's on at the moment. What's one of the biggest limiting beliefs on the group has? Okay. Another one that says, success comes only to those who wait. Like they're saying, good things come to those who wait. Okay, the universal intelligence is laughing at that, going, do you know how many people are waiting to win Tats Lotto? It's almost in the billions. There are so many people that are waiting for success to fall in their lap. That is never going to happen. Because it's not waiting that creates success. It's belief and intention. And from that space, we're able to bring in the right action, the right people, the right relationships. And that's what creates success.